The only real feeling you can have is neutral contentment. Any other feeling is colored by your armor, by the things you are avoiding to feel, by your assumptions, by your judgment, by your preferences, by everything that you have experienced in your life and is coming through that filter that you then see and hear everything with, that is shaping how your internal feelings are. And those are fleeting all the time. Underneath all that, the only feeling that is there, it's really, really difficult to describe. But if I should describe it, I would say neutral contentment. So there is contentment that nothing needs to change and nothing needs to happen. There's a purity and a clarity to what is arising is completely okay. And if I'm at the dentist, in the dentist's office, having a root canal, then all the pain that I'm feeling can only be pain and be felt as something wrong or something bad if I put my opinions into it. In and of itself, it's just sensation in the body. The opinion that I have about it is what is giving all the struggles, all the things that I don't want to feel, all the things that I wish was different. But that is not in its own pure experience. In its own pure experience, there is just neutral contentment. And I remember years ago, I was in a Buddhist center and it was like a weekend experience at that Buddhist center. And we were split up into groups and were talking about different things with the person that you were in a group with. And I was with a Buddhist nun, and I said that in its essence, what I feel is contentment. And she was like, contentment? Are you completely bypassing your entire childhood, all the experiences you have had? Are you completely bypassing all the cruelty that is happening in the world? How can you sit with contentment? And I remember being completely, I haven't really thought about that. What is it that gives me that undertone of contentment? Because I'm not bypassing, not closing my eyes. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen or it never happened or anything like that. But it's like when you remove all your opinions about things, there's a deep, deep feeling in you when you have come to terms with your childhood and you've been in therapy and you have looked through everything and you have felt that deep feeling of forgiveness towards yourself, towards everybody else, not approving or condoning anything that happened at all is not what I'm talking about. And if you know my material in Second Feather, you know it's not at all what I'm talking about. But really unhooking all the stories, then you're sitting with a feeling of contentment that is just there underneath. And with that, you allow any unfolding that is happening, whether you're having a warm bath or a root canal. And regarding all the horrible things that happens on the planet at this point and always has happened because people are cruel. There's horrendous evil out there. I'm not closing my eyes to it. But underneath the acknowledgement of what is happening and underneath all the things to be done to build shelters for the homeless, gathering food for people that can't afford buying food. I'm in the US at the moment. Underneath that, there's an undercurrent of neutral contentment. It's like a motivating factor without any wish for things to be differently. It's like a pure arising that is just that neutral contentment. And I say neutral because it's not conditioned to anything. There doesn't need to be a beautiful sunrise and peace on earth and food to all starving children and nobody being cruel or evil to one another. It's not conditioned. It's just there all the time. And I'm sure that if you're on this channel and you're watching this video and you're watching this far in, you have had this experience. Maybe you have had it in glimpse, where it's like the clouds are parting, and there's this clarity of neutral contentment, where it's just what is in this moment. Todd and I, we talked a lot about wanting to start a movement of nowism, where it's about being present in the now. Just noticing this now, right now. And in every moment that is, noticing how much are you adding or subtracting from this moment right now. And when you start to notice how much you are adding or subtracting to any moment, anything that could be different, any feeling you have or don't want to have, when you start to notice that that is always motivated by thoughts, by an underlying belief about you not being okay, about low self-worth, about fear, anger, guilt, and shame. But when you can be in the same room as those feelings and emotions of fear, anger, guilt, and shame, of low self-worth and inadequacy, when you can be in the same room with it, they lose their power. They're no longer potent in any way. And then you can start to see through the delusion of them being real. Because they're not. There's no other emotion that is real. Everything else is a layer that has been put on top. And you keep creating an idea around it. You keep creating stories around it that gives it some substantiality, that makes it into something tangible, which is not. A thought has no density or value. It's just a thought. What happens to a thought when you don't think it? So what happens to the feeling of fear? That undercurrent in you that has been there like always. What happens when you can be in the same room as that and look it straight in the eye? Feel it in your body. Notice how it's shaping contraction and tension in your body. And then completely clearly see that tension and that contraction, it's not fear. It's tension and contraction in the body with a thought added to it. And that thought is then created a little post-it about fear. And now you're talking about the post-it of fear. And that can be the motivating factor for everything. We have like an armor around us that is shielding us from other people so they do not see how fearful we are, how shameful we are, how guilty we feel. But it's also shielding us from us so we don't feel that. And that is when we start with all the diversions in our lives, where we divert, and you can hear it on your words and on your vocabulary, that you are, when you're talking with the verbal indicators, the blaming, shaming, complaining, and explaining, when that is like the undercurrent of the sentence that you're building, you're talking from your armor. You're talking from a protection mechanism that is being kicked in, either to shield you from others or shield you from that feeling. Underneath all that, when you remove all that, there is a very, very pure sense of neutral contentment, where nothing needs to change and nothing needs to happen. That contraction in my body that my entire life has told me that I'm shameful or fearful, it's just a contraction in the body. It's just a thought attached to that contraction. It's not real in any way because it can be picked apart. The moment you're just sitting with that contraction and tension in your body, the thoughts start to evaporate. Then it's no longer fear. It's just a contraction in the body. And then you can start to notice that contraction in the body, whatever pain you have in the body right now, you can start to notice what is that actually like? Not what you think it's like, well, what is it actually like? And even pain can become neutral. It can also become pleasurable, but it can also just be neutral. There's no comparison to this pain being any different. There is no alternative solution to what is arising in this now, right now. And in the nowism, there's just this. There's a very, very pure arising right now. And without any opinion and without any judgment, it's completely pure. And it's just neutral contentment. Now, I'm saying neutral because it doesn't have any positivity. It's not a positive contentment. It's just an leaning back, almost like floating in whatever is arising right now. Have you experienced this? If you have, I would love to hear from you in the comment section. And I think that was it. Thank you. We have created a course of our first Feather material. This course will walk you step by step through all of the ways in which identification is created and selfing happens. If you've been struggling to see through the self-structure or have that first awakening shift, this course contains hundreds of tools to help you discover the selfing mechanisms when they're happening, and then see through the illusion of identification that are created. Along with over 14 hours of videos, this $49 course contains a full book worth of summaries, extrapolations on the videos, written inquiry suggestions, and other text. So work slowly, leave time for integration. This is powerful material and it can be life-changing.